So now we are on to boss 3. First of all, we need to get through what is commonly referred to as Sniper Alley, because there's snipers and they're really annoying. Right, first things first, gather your team. Obviously, there are typically a few build changes going on here, just because the first part of Sniper Alley can be pretty fast and furious. We need 2 people to go down the left hand side, while the remainder of the team go down the right. Those on the right hand side need to keep an eye on the left, because there are 2 spark boxes along the way. One is pretty damn obvious, the other is not so obvious. It's really going to be hard to show you where they are. Just have a little gander. 2 reasons it's hard to show. One, it's dark and scary, and one was right there before it blew up. Secondly, the screen shake I've got going on right now is absolutely hilarious, because people thought they'd be geniuses and grenade the entire friggin' hall. Yeah, grenading is a good way to go, but Oxy is better. Chronics, I hate you for grenading me and getting me killed. Because of the screen shake, couldn't see anything, and this is the result. Me on the floor. Love you, Chronics, love you so much. But yeah, so people on the left will have to go past and get a key. There are 2 doors that need to be opened by the team on the right by shooting boxes. Once they get past the second door, there is a Chunga that spawns. Once you kill the Chunga, he will drop another key for you to open up the remaining door. The team on the right just have to fight their way through, and once they've fought their way through, it's pretty much damn simple. That is the first part of Sniper Alley done, essentially. If you've brought rockets with you, which you should have at least 2, grab them and then make your way forward. So the Chunga will spawn just on my left here, out that door, opens up this door, and then once you're through here, you can get your next key for the loot at the end of the raid. That is the easy part of Sniper Alley done. Typically it's pretty damn easy. I have known teams to wipe here just because of the sheer amount of shotgunners, but hey ho. Right, anyway, on to the main part of Sniper Alley. There will be 3 or 4 snipers, can't remember because it never normally works that well, at the top. These will one-shot you. Doesn't matter how tanky you are, what your build is, they will one-shot you. So we need to keep them suppressed with Bullet King, which is all those bullets flying above our head. This is the only known use for Bullet King in the entire game. Brilliant. We need to beeline up the causeway, up the ladder, remove the ads just to make sure, and then once we have removed the ads, after we have shot out to the pipes, which is what those rockets were for, to remove the pipe from where I'm climbing now, there are 4 turnstiles, 2 on each side. Turn them at the same time. It blows up, it kills the snipers, and drops the key, which is what I was just looking at there. You can see, I believe Chronics picks up the key. And once we have the key, we make our way through this bit. If I can walk, and if you very kindly look where I am aiming, there is a box that will appear when Chronics put the keys in that little, I don't know what you want to call it, dial. These will open. There's 3 of them all together. That's where one is. I'll show you the other 2 in a second, but if all 3 are shot correctly, you're able to open up this door, and then there is your 3rd key for the raid box at the end. For doing Regulus project, this is kind of also required. There is another box just there, as you can see, and then the 3rd box, because there are 3, is just up there. Kind of hard to see there. And once you've done that, you can basically just fast travel, so you skip a good 100-150 meter run. Now, due to the fact that we had a few people learning new roles on this particular raid, there is going to be a serious skip in time because this took us a few attempts. However, this also does give me time to talk about what this area is. I argue, and a lot of people will state, that this is the hardest boss in the game. It is all about ad control. If you cannot deal with those ad controls, those that know the mechanics and how to push the mechanic forward cannot do their job. So many times I see new players doing the raid and they will just find a position and sit there. No, move, get around, shoot things, do something. There's always something going on this boss. The first thing you will notice is if you look in the bottom left of the chat, people will start putting numbers in. That is because there are dials which come into play a little bit later on in this encounter. This is commonly referred to as cogs. You might notice that the 12s are facing inwards. That's because the one on the left goes clockwise, one on the right goes anti-clockwise. You need to get that weird little U. On the left one it's at 7, and on the right one it was on 5. You need to we typically go E, entrance. This would be 7, 5, and then you got the blue side. We'll just stick with 7, 5 again, and then for yellow side we'll stick with 7, 5 again, just to keep it nice and simple. All three will be different though. That is, if you're not actually doing cogs, that is your job done. Okay, from that point on, you just either stay on the main platform in the middle, and we need 3 people on each one of the 3 consoles. I am on yellow. No, I'm on red. Whoa. I'm colourblind. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. I actually am colourblind. Tritanopia. Go me. Right. Enough bragging. Okay, once we are on these, it takes a little while to set up because people will have 1,000,001 questions. People always have different ideas on how to run this. The basic gist of it is you'll have someone who has pretty much 100% Hasbro. We're just going to say everything. No, we're not going to say everything. You want Disorient, Shock, and Fire. Ensnare is also helpful as well, but it is not 100% required. I would say, depending on how you want to play, yes, but they're absolutely Disorient, Shock, and Fire, because this tower thing is going to be dishing out all of them. Ensnare is handy because the boss does Ensnare, and yeah, his is hardened foam, so the only way to get rid of it is to break it. You can't wiggle, you don't aim down your sights, you literally just put it straight down and shoot. Problem solved. So the person at the top is going to, or the Hasbro is going to go up there. He is going to press and hold a button. He cannot move. While this person is on this button, they cannot move. So if you hear sniper, 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 everyone basically needs to look up and kill the sniper, which is why you'll on occasion see me just spam upwards to have a quick look for less snipers. I am using a unique build here because of where we were having trouble. I've got a weird setup which does help in this situation. So does Doctor. Well, most of us do have setups that sort of help alleviate pressure for newer players in the raid, or if people are learning, we can chop and change. Don't worry, we have you covered. Now, when they're at the top, pressing these buttons, there will be 3 lights: yellow, red, blue. Not necessarily in that order. And depending what light comes up, depends on what objective you have to complete to progress. If it's red, there are 4 pipes around the outside of the actual arena. I'm basically sat right next to 2 of them being on the red station. However, if you can get to red quick enough, you can actually skip having to use these pipes. On yellow, there are 3 sparkly electric boxes. You need to interact with all 3 of them. If it's blue, 1 platform below, if you see where pause is, there's a platform just ever so below her. There will be 3 pipes on there that have steam coming out. When you do interact with those 3, while someone else is holding the button, you are able then to interact with the console. You need to interact with one of the consoles twice. One will be free, essentially, as we call it, because it just gets the encounter started. After the free console, depending on what one it was, there we are, you can quickly interact with red, and it skips part of the mechanic. which is why we typically have someone stationed at mainly red, but if we can get someone on all three platforms, all three consoles, it really does help out. Once we've done all three of the consoles, red, yellow and blue, if red was not last, we typically need to go up again and check the main console at the top, whoever the Hasbro person is, and just hold the button again. If it's any other colour, you are good to proceed. However, if it is red, you basically need to do red again. I'm not actually sure if this is a mechanic or a glitch. It sounds like a glitch, but it could also sound like a mechanic thing. Just pointing that out. Once you have done those consoles, what I mentioned earlier about the cogs, you'll see they're being turned. When they light up slightly like that with that little dot, you need to shoot the dot, but you need to wait till you're told. So the first one to break will be entrance, which is what I am doing. So we'll break entrance. After entrance is broken, we are then able to break all of them, and this helps alleviate the pressure. If you look at the top, just above the boss's health, there is a thing that says pressure. This will slowly go up over time. What makes this boss event so hard is not only is there a lot going on, but it is timed essentially. Each little bar is 2 minutes. Doing certain activities will decrease the amount. If you take too long, it fills up, and then yeah, you're done. Once all three vents to release the molten iron, which we just call lava, is done, Hasbro needs to go back up top to look at a separate screen now, and there will be on each side of the screen, you basically press back and forth on it, each side of the screen there will be letters Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta will be your first four, and there'll be a bar chart essentially. You need to get all the bars in the middle, so if Alpha is too low or too high, you basically just say if Alpha down or up, depending on what is needed. At that point, if you stand to the left of the cog that is needed, if you shoot the top of it, it goes up. If you shoot the bottom of it, it goes down. If you stand on the right of it, it's vice versa. Shooting the top makes it go down, and shooting the bottom makes it go up. And yeah, you essentially now just have to play a game of listen very carefully. There's going to be a lot of communication, because enemies on the platform can mess you up. There's chungus that spawn. So I absolutely would recommend, I've said them before in the first walkthrough video I did, Kaiser and Pause. Their channels will again be linking their videos throughout this weird little series that I'm doing. Absolutely watch their run of Boss 3, because the amount of communication that is going on is absolutely key. There are jokes in there as well, just to help. I don't know, we're a fun group, but you'll hear Chunga Blue, Chunga Red, Chunga on platform, boss is out, boss is in, boss is immune. The turret sequence, there is honestly so much communication that I've essentially muted so that I can blather to you over. Absolutely go watch that as well, to watch it in a bit more of a realistic state, and it will probably help you out. Once you've done all the letters, everyone needs to go up. Now, an easy way to actually kind of cheese this, which doesn't really work, is we need to get the boss to sort of stay up on this platform here. So we throw a turret up there to help keep him in a stationary place, because he'll just attack the turret, because the turret will draw the aggro. If he jumps down, he becomes so much more difficult to deal with, because he runs around like a lunatic. He releases a weird poison cloud that goes straight to your health, so he can kill you very easily. And there's also a lot of ads and other crap running around. And one of the main reasons I have this build working on me is I have drone and turret, so I'm actually able to passively keep his aggro at me, but it's not at me, it's at my drone and turret. Along with the fact that the height on where they seem to shoot, it seems to hit his backpack and shoulder a lot. He has a healing mechanic, and you need to shoot his backpack / shoulder in order to stop the healing. Drone and turret are actually really handy for doing this, and we're able to kill him pretty easily. However, having everyone run a build that I'm running will make it so much harder. You just need 1 or 2. However, most of the time, assuming everything works out to plan, what I'm actually running would normally be a detriment. It's only because the way in which we're set up that allows for me to run this build. Yeah, if that made any sense. Once he dies, he will drop a key. It'll be an emergency reset key, which one person will need to run up to the top to put into the main console. Once that is put into the main console, all 3 platforms will light up again, and they need to be pressed in no particular sequence. They just need to be pressed. Red, yellow, blue, all need to be pressed, and that is essentially the end of the boss encounter. Timer is done. Secure the area. Pretty simple-ish, I think, but still, I've very much oversimplified that because honestly there is so much going on. This is the boss that ends so many runs. You can see that we got through boss 1 and 2. If you look on the timer on the left, we got through boss 1 and 2 in about 20 minutes, and then we spent 55 minutes on this one encounter. This boss is horrible. Admittedly, we did have 2 people on 2 different roles, learning 2 different roles, so things can go haywire. It's also a teaching raid that we were doing, trying to get people comfortable with new roles, so things can go wrong. However, that is boss 3.